And it's like, look at these jackasses. I think we're gonna make a comic. You know, the guys who did this and this and this and this never went anywhere. This. Suddenly, we're gonna try to make a comic about Mars. So we made a video. We did our best with it, and we put it up online. And I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys the video now. Maybe.
Generation 1 is the story of Pika, the first child born on Mars. In 2051, when a war between the United States and China plunges two peaceful Martian colonies into a miniature Cold War, it's up to the first generation of children born on Mars to restore peace to their planet and set a positive example for Earth. Picus, Ada, Lao, Xiao, these are kids who have never lived on Earth and probably never will.
July and Norman are the new colonists, Earth kids who've been pulled from the West back home and are still adjusting to Mars.
The family harbors a terrible secret that could unravel peace on both humanity's planets.
This is a 3-issue limited comic book series, and we'll be binding it together in one volume. It's scheduled for completion in summer of 2014. We'll be keeping you updated with monthly video blogs, which you can find on our website.
The book will have an appendix talking about Mars and the science behind the comic, and a page 2 describing how you can help in real-life efforts to explore and colonize Mars.
There's a possible 3 bonus issues, including a Halloween issue, a winter holiday issue, and an issue that finally answers the question, is there life on other planets? We would love to share these stories with you guys, so please help us meet those stretch goals.
Our team is made up of a writer, an artist, 2 designers, and a research and continuity assistant. While none of us has a background in science, mathematics, or engineering, we're all passionate laymen and women who've been cheering from the sidelines for years. This comic is our way of cheering louder.
We've had the privilege of discussing our designs and ideas with the brilliant Dr. Armand Ellis of NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory. Thanks to his input, we've been able to create a much more plausible world for our characters to inhabit.
There are lots of ways you can help us. You can pledge, you can share with your Facebook friends, families, colleagues, schools, and really anyone who's interested in space and Mars exploration. You can use it as an educational tool, and we even have a book club reward level that you can use for group discussion.
One of the coolest reward levels is the opportunity to adopt Ada, one of my favorite characters in the comic. You and your partner can be drawn into the comic as Ada's parents, and you'll receive a full-color, illustrated family photo of you and Ada. There's only one of those reward levels, though, so if you're interested, you need to act quickly, and there's more information on that down the page.
Thank you, everyone, for making this project possible.
We look forward to sharing this story with you, a story that is about Mars and science and space.
But it is first and foremost about real people like you and me.
Their dreams and heartbreaks, their sacrifices and failures, their willingness to stand up and say,
We will not make the same mistakes on our second planet as we did on our first.
This is a story of what we might become together if we have the courage to try. So we put the video up online, and we, for the first 10 minutes, I just looked at it, and it was just like panic. It's like nobody's backing it. And the first, because we're crazy people, and just like, look, nobody's, in the first 2 hours, Ada, which was the character that you can adopt, sold for $2,500. We had our full $10,000 in the first 4 days. and went on to raise 3 times our goal. You can applaud if you want. No. Actually, we I think it's appropriate that a Kickstarter about Mars missions would be late, and we have been. But it is about to come out, and I am super excited about that. So things are going really well for us. And it's all thanks to our great love of Mars, but why did we love Mars to begin with? Like I said, we're just a group of random people from the Midwest. Why? I mean, what was it that drew us to it to begin with? Because if we can figure that out, maybe we can find out how to get more people interested. So, I'm on the wrong page. No, I'm good. Sorry. So it wasn't the science and the sort of facts-based picture of reality that got me into it. I mean, obviously, if there wasn't that underneath as a foundation, it would have just been, whatever, I would have just moved on. But let's go back. Oh no, there we go. That way back, that's me. I grew up in a very loving family. Reality wasn't our strong suit. So, I mean, a lot of people have religious parents, and I think that that's fine. Mine were like this kind of religious. Like, you guys know what that is? That's a Chick tract from like the 70s. It's an abomination. But anyway, I've always been kind of not a bad kid, just kind of a disrespectful kid. I think it served me well. If somebody told me not to read something, I would read it. Somebody told me not to find out about something, not to look into something, I would. And so that's how I sort of got out of that worldview. You guys just take that in. Yeah, that's a shark. So, it wasn't that I was a bad kid. I did care about things. I cared about them really deeply. I just didn't care about the things that my parents wanted me to. So, like, what was relevant to me? I want you guys to notice that's Donatello, the engineer of the group. That's a shout out. He actually was my favorite. God help us, we're in the hands of engineers. That was one of my very favorite movies. Twister. So in short, entertainment, that was what was relevant to me. Not school, not church, not anything anybody was pushing on me to try to teach me. It was this stuff. You didn't have to make me like it. So we're going to talk a little bit about entertainment and how we can use it to get people interested in important subjects like Mars and space exploration and science in general. So this book, I don't know if any of you guys have read this. This is a book that basically, I like this book. I think it's an important book. I have some quotes from this guy, from Neil Postman. We're going to skip them because we're kind of short on time, and I want to be able to play with beach balls with you guys. So, but basically his whole premise is that we're amusing ourselves to death. That entertainment has become our whole culture. It's our whole cultural language. That we don't talk to each other. We entertain each other. We don't exchange ideas. We exchange images. And then he talks like our culture is going to die. And this is kind of what I think of that. Okay, so he didn't really say that. But even if you disagree with his premise that this, the fact that entertainment is just everything in our culture, even if you disagree with his premise that that's a bad thing, I don't think you can disagree with his assessment that that's the way it is, that entertainment is the language of our culture. And people can we can either try to fight it or learn to speak it and make it serve us. So in that last quote, he says that entertainment is trivia. And if it's just silly, if it's just fun, what possible use is it in the context that we're talking about getting people to care about science, engineering, space. So like, you can't learn meteorology from watching Twister. You can't. You go to a meteorology class and say, suck zone, and you're gonna get laughed to death. Have you guys seen Twister? Who's seen Twister? Okay, all right, cool. I'm from Oklahoma, so that's a relevant movie to me. But what Twister can do is teach you to love tornadoes. Now you're fascinated with tornadoes, and maybe you'll go and actually learn about them. This is one of my favorite mangas called Hikaru no Go. It's about the game of Go, a board game, and about these kids who play it professionally. But it's not an instruction manual. You can't read the comic and learn to play the game. But you can learn to love the game. You watch them struggle to learn it. You watch them struggle to better themselves. You look at the way they love it, and you just love it by association. And then I've never met anybody who read that and didn't at least look into the game and try to play it. Assassin's Creed. It doesn't teach you, it doesn't give you a page of information about Constantinople. It doesn't give you a rundown of its history. You climb its buildings. You kill its important people. It's like if you're in a history class, you might have this incredible aha moment like, I killed that guy. I did. I mean, if you said that out loud, people think you're nuts, but that's a great game, by the way. So entertainment surrounding a subject, it can inspire people to pursue the thing itself. I mean, that seems kind of duh-worthy, but I think it's really important when we're talking about getting people to care, because so often we're trying to push education on people, or we're watering down entertainment with education and creating this kind of edutainment Frankenstein's monster that, I mean, people just, they can tell. People are so sophisticated today, they can smell that a mile away. Okay, this is my brother Tim, the artist on Generation 1, looking a lot like Andy Samberg in that picture for some reason. He listens almost entirely to soundtracks, and I think he's insane. I'm like, dude, listen to Ben Folds, and I asked him one time, I was finally like, why just soundtracks? And he's like, other music doesn't remind me of anything. And that blew I mean, I still think he's nuts, but it blew my mind. I was like, it doesn't remind him of anything. It's like, it doesn't have this like reference point in the back of his head that connects him to something that he enjoyed. And that's almost an advertising concept too. Like, if you, how are we doing on time? We're doing decent. Huh? It's good. Okay. So it's kind of an advertising concept. It's like, when you put an ad out there, you're not necessarily thinking the person's going to see that ad and go, by golly, I'm going to go buy this product. It's like, you're just putting it in their head. So later when they're at the store or they're shopping online or they just run into it, it's like, they're like, oh, I know that one. And that is like what Assassin's Creed can do for history, what Hikaru no Go does for that board game. Another simpler way of putting this is sometimes you have to touch people emotionally before you can touch them intellectually. There's such a tendency to push, but what we should really be doing is pulling. So for example, let's get back to the comic a little bit. I never would have had the idea for the comic. I never would have been inspired to do it if it weren't for The Case for Mars by Dr. Robert Zubrin. But I would never have read this book if it weren't for Symphony of Science. You guys seen those? Where they make music videos out of documentaries and important talks, and they are just mind-blowingly good and incredibly emotional. It presents things in this way that you're like, oh, it's not a class. I mean, it's a 4-minute music video, but it gets you like excited to learn more. There's a really great quote. If you want to build a ship, don't drum up men to gather wood, divide the work, and give orders. Instead, teach them to yearn for the vast and endless sea. Don't push them towards something, pull them. Show, entertain them, touch them emotionally, and then they will, you're not going to have to motivate them. They'll be motivated. So that's kind of what we're trying to do with Generation 1, is to create an accessible piece of entertainment that'll spark interest in Mars in teens and young adults. And we have a lot of plans for the IP. We want to children's books and apps, and I mean, my ultimate vision for this thing spans hundreds of years of story continuity, takes us to half a dozen worlds in the solar system, and just this chronicle of humanity spreading out in the solar system. And like I said, Gen 1 isn't edutainment. It's not gonna teach. It's not a textbook on Mars. But what you've got in Generation 1 is you've got these people that you like and that you care about, and they're fighting for Mars, not just the planet, but the concept of it. They're fighting for what it means for humanity in the long term. And I think that's much more effective than a list of, I mean, we are going to have an appendix that has a lot of information about Mars and even about how people can help in Mars efforts. But the important part of the book is getting people to love Mars the way that these characters love Mars. And not by tricking them, just by telling a good story. And that's what we're trying to do. So as engineers and scientists, how can you guys apply this to your future goals, like projects that you might work on, or things that you want to get people interested in? I have a sad story for you. And I'm going to call out Dr. Zubrin a little bit on this. Okay, so when we were doing Generation 1, Dr. Zubrin got in contact with me. You know, our campaign had just been successful. He said, "We love your Kickstarter. It seems very effective. Will you help us? We're doing this Mars Arctic 365 mission. Help us run the Indiegogo campaign." And I don't know what a small world it is, engineers in aerospace. I don't know if you guys know people who worked on this. And I thought it was a very cool project. I told him right away, I was like, yes, absolutely. This is the kind of thing that we want to do. And I told him some things that we could do. I told him how to make it entertaining. I told him how to reach people. And I think that it looked like a lot of work to him. And it didn't work the way his brain worked. And he never got back to me. He ran the campaign, and it was a very professionally built page. It had great information. It was competently made. But the video was Dr. Zubrin for 6 minutes staring into a camera. If we had run our campaign that way, not only would we have failed, I doubt we would have raised $1,000. I've seen comics all the time do that, where they put a video online. It's just a guy talking about, I want to do this comic. Here's what it is. Here's why it's important. Nobody cares. You didn't touch them. You're just talking at them. You're trying to push them into giving you money. And I think that this mission, this is so sad to me. It's like, here's an actual research mission that could contribute to humanity going to Mars. And they raised half as much money as our stupid comic in twice as much time. Just unacceptable. And there's no reason for it. If they'd taken time to present the information, to build a story, to make people care. I mean, imagine if they'd raised 3 times their goal. They raised $17,000. They wanted to raise $100,000. What if they'd raised 3 times their goal? How much good could they have done toward Mars missions with $300,000? And all it would have taken is an entertainment-based approach to that campaign. So I can't overstate that. That might be the most important thing I say to you guys. I can't overstate how important that is. That execution is everything. And even if you're not pitching a piece of entertainment, your pitch, if you're pitching anything, it has to be a piece of entertainment. It has to be. Getting a little worked up. Getting a little excited up here. But I feel strongly about it. That broke my heart when I saw the way that campaign went. I was like, it could have gone so much better. And we could have helped. So What was I? Oh, so here's something kind of cool that we're doing. We're actually working with the European Rover Challenge this year. That's kind of a secret. Whoops. But we haven't, what I'm saying is we haven't officially announced it yet, but the characters from Generation 1 are actually going to be like the mascots and the public face of the European Rover Challenge this year. And I'm really excited. That's exactly the kind of stuff that I want to be able to do. Just, I mean, Tim's art, to have those colorful characters on the promotional materials for that event, I think it's really going to help. I think it'll bring in people that maybe weren't interested in it before. So for you guys, and I don't know if any of you guys are aspiring creators, but one of the things that you can do is to look for important communities that need their story told. So instead of just, I mean, the world doesn't need another wizard school story. I love Harry Potter. It doesn't need another one. That one's really good already. We don't need werewolf poetry. We need stories that matter. And one of the things that's blown me away about Generation 1 is the fact that the way that people have reached out to us. I mean, we're just like, we're just going to make a comic. We're going to tell a story that we want to tell. But the way that people have gotten excited about it and come to us and been like, yes, why isn't somebody else? I mean, why hasn't this happened before? That makes me feel like we're in the right place, that we're doing the right thing. And as engineers and as scientists, and you know, whatever you guys go on to do, keep that in mind. You know, if you guys aren't creators yourself, if you don't think in entertainment terms, make some friends who do, or hire some people who know how to do that. I mean, really, we're talking about marketing. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about making science and engineering sexy and making it hit people in a way that matters. So another thing, and I think this will be the last thing before we do our Q&A, if we have time. I don't know how we're doing with time. Doing good? There's a real tendency to go, and I thought this early on with this project, like the tendency to say, like, who am I to say anything, or who am I to do anything regarding this? Like, sometimes it's easy to be like, surely there's somebody more qualified, somebody more, somebody smarter, somebody who could do a better job. But if you have vision for something, I mean, never do that to yourself. It's you know, it's your universe as much as it's anybody's, and you're a human being, and that gives you a say. So that's what we want people to learn from our little comic, that anybody can add to the conversation, and that it's possible to reach people that you wouldn't think it was possible to reach. You know, it's easy to get the kid at the front of the class who's got his immaculate Trapper Keeper. It's not so easy to get the kid in the back who just can't wait for class to get over. And hopefully some of this will help you guys think a little bit differently about the way that you reach that crazy kid. Because if you can get that kid to care, he will care for life. So I think that's pretty much what I wanted to say today, guys. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. How much time do we have?
8 minutes.
8 minutes. All right, this is going to be rapid fire. Write a question on your ball and throw it at me.
First one.
I like it.
Oh, let's survive.
Oh, hit me. All right. Okay, if I was guaranteed enough leg room on the journey, would I take a one-way trip to Mars? No. No, here's the thing. I'm so lazy. It would be miserable. And I don't know. I mean, and how much does it cost to send like a pound into space? I weigh 340 pounds. I'm an expensive person to send to space, and I would be so useless. Tell us a story, Steve. Well, I have a Kindle full of stuff. Don't really need you up here. I'm not sure why they sent you. One of the characters in Gen 1 is based on what you were like as a child. I would say there's a character, Norman, on the far left, and he's very much, yes, he's kind of like me because he's like 100% like into something, and it's so, I mean, this is the kind of, if I went to just be like mad, people say I believe, and people would talk about it. Wasn't that great? I'm like, shut up, you're gonna ruin it. It was like I wanted to climb inside of it, and that's kind of what Norman is like. He's like 100% Mr. Military all the time, even when it's unnecessary, and he's just single-minded like that. Okay, I'm gonna make a rule that you have to hit me with it before I do. Okay. Why the team? Why not just publish a novel on your own? Well, because it's lonely. It's so lonely. I've written books, and I'm good at it. I like working with a team. I like working with my brother. He's been drawing the things that I write forever, and I think everything I was talking about, like a visual medium. If I said, oh, you know, there's, I mean, if I'm trying to describe these people to you, it would take a long time. It would take to make you just instantly. I mean, you could just look at that and go, I kind of get it. Like I get like the emotion. And it's like I like that about art. It's like you can instantly look at it and say, oh, that looks good. Writing is a little more subjective. Did you get more sci-fi enthusiasts or general public interest in the campaign? That's a good question. Mostly it was people that found us on Kickstarter. By the way, I don't know who that was, but so I don't really know. What makes something entertaining? Blood. No, I mean, well, kind of. But what makes something entertaining? I don't know. I think I just spent like half an hour talking about make stuff entertaining, guys. It's really important. What makes something entertaining? I don't know. That's a difficult question, and I think that would have to be like a conversation. Who does this? We'll talk. I mean, the short answer is struggle, conflict, or beauty. Those two things. And just if we're speaking very generally. Oh, that's why I'm making comics. I can rip a deck of cards in half, but I cannot kick a ball or throw a ball. It's like deck of cards, throw a ball. Where's the line between being entertaining and being misleading? It's a good question. There's been a lot of like talk in the science community. It seems like I run into this a lot where people are like, you know, you've got the media outlets like I effing love science and others like that. And it seems like there's science and reality, and then there's like entertaining science, popular science. And I see what you're saying. It's like you don't want to go so far from reality if you're professing to represent reality in any way, shape, or form. Going too far can disillusion people if they, you know, see it's like, look at all our happy, healthy Mars colonists without cancer and, you know, joint problems, and it's like, yeah, it makes it look easy. And would that disillusion people? I don't know, maybe. But hopefully it would get more people interested in, and I think people understand that going to Mars is hard.
Dude.
What? Oh, there's one more in the back. All right. These don't glow as much as they're supposed to. What does it say?
TV show. Like I just like down the line. Like
Oh,
something
oh,
that,
that'd be amazing. I mean, one of our big, one of our favorite, when we talked about like visual style, we talked a lot about Avatar: The Last Airbender. I don't know if you guys have seen that show, or Legend of Korra. If those guys got a hold of this, I would never stop crapping my pants. I would just, it would just be a constant pant crap. Okay, who else has got a question? You gotta throw the ball. Okay. I like the ice cap. That's good. I already did this one. Wait. Orson Scott Card. Was he my inspiration for this kind of story? He was one of my sci-fi gateway drugs for sure. Ender's Game had a huge impact on me. And you'll probably, if you read, plug time. If you read the prequel story that I've got back there, you'll probably get some, and you're familiar with Orson Scott Card, you'll get some Orson Scott Card vibes. And that's, I would take that as an enormous compliment. Yeah, you know what? I love that guy. I love his work. I disagree with him about a lot of things. It's kind of like having another dad. It's like, I love my dad, but I disagree with him on so much stuff. But yeah, very, very inspired by Orson Scott Card. One of my very favorite sci-fi writers. Thanks. What's next for me and the rest of Team Gen 1? I don't know. I mean, I'll be continuing to write short stories. I would like, yes, bring it. I'll continue to write short stories immediately after the comic comes out. I'd like to do a series of young adult novels. I would like to do a children's book. Like I said, there's a lot of stuff that I'd like to do. The rest of the team, I know my wife is always with me. So I've got a designer. Rusty's always with me. I've got my continuity research and story partner guy. The only one who is moving on potentially is Tim, because this has been just an insane slog for him. I mean, we're talking 25 hours a page. It's for 70 some pages. So just an insane amount of work. And I told him, I said, after this, I'm not going to rope you into any more work. It's like, but the thing is, I can work with other artists. I have other artists that I'm friends with and that we've talked about it. So the question is just going to be, what happens with this comic? Does it take off? Does everybody get it and go, huh, nice, and then kind of forget? It just depends what happens with that. So is that the only way?
there's two more.
Have you seen? No, I have not. How are sales so far beyond the Kickstarter? Well, the only thing that's actually released right now is the short story that I have in the back, which is a prequel. And it won't spoil the story. It takes place immediately before. Sales have been good, and they're not as good as they would be because I gave it away to all of our Kickstarter backers when I knew that we weren't going to be done by the deadline that I'd set. Like I said, it took Tim a lot longer with the art than we thought, and I didn't want to give I don't want the backers to be empty-handed, so I gave it to all of them. I just gave it to them for free. But man, reviews have been really good. People write me letters and emails, Facebook messages.
One more question.
Tell me very nice things. One more?
Oh, you lost.
Where can we find it when for those back to like what's
Well, that's a good question. We're working on that. I'm gonna have some extras. You guys can contact me via the page. I mean, I've got free bookmarks back at in case you guys for some reason like forget the name of the comic. Just take a bookmark, look us up on Facebook, like us. You guys can send me a message anytime, and I can get you copies that way in just like the almost immediate future, like in the next couple months. Then we'll be courting publishers and distributors and trying to figure out exactly what comes next. Right now, we're just kind of focusing on making the best book we can. So,
Awesome.
is that it?
You have one?
Come on.
Okay. Ooh.
Oh, What was the most challenging moment for me? Finding out we were going to be late I know that's kind of a boring answer, but it's the truth. That broke my heart. I was like, we are not going to be one of those Kickstarters that runs a year. That was the hardest, was just dealing with that. Like, these people came to like support us just out of the woodwork, just found us and trusted us. And I just felt so horrible when we had to delay. So that was the hardest for me. If you're talking about the actual creative process, I had a script ready to go after the Kickstarter. Rusty and I sat down, went over it, getting ready to turn it into Tim literally the next day. We're walking out to the car from the library where we were working. And I stopped and I go, oh no. And he goes, what? I was like, oh no. I was like, I know how to make it so much better. And he was like, Steve, you can't do that. I mean, we're giving it to him tomorrow. And I'm like, and I told him what I wanted to do. And he was like, oh no. Because you're exactly right. It's so much better. And it's going to require throwing out the entire script. So the day before we take it to the artist, threw out the script, had another really, really long meeting, and I wrote page 1 and took it to Tim. It was like, we're crazy people. We're crazy people. You don't do that, but we did it. Anybody else? Are we out of time?
Yes.
Okay, we're out of time.